Hey, we're going to be talking about 4 different options for concealed carry today and some different situations where they may work best for you. The first option would actually be this right here, which I've actually had my hand on, the entire time. Um, and that would be just carrying a little snub nose, pocket sized pistol or revolver, inside of a pocket, um, which, you know, the advantages to that is you could have this enclosed in a pocket somewhere and without ever even having to show the firearm already be drawled and ready to fire on someone without ever having to give yourself away that you were ever even carrying a firearm. um, I wouldn't necessarily say that this gun with the hammer here is necessarily the best option. um, but if you were to have a hammerless version, I mean, you wouldn't have any worries or concerns there. I have seen a lot of videos of people firing, though, even with a hammered, hammer fired revolver, and not had any issues firing within, inside of a pocket or something. But I'd say, ideally, if you had a hammerless version, that would be ideal for that type of carrier, situation. And I guess I'll just start here by showing. Of course, they're all unloaded. Um, do that with each of them. But along with that, I'll generally carry it inside of just a little pocket-sized, little pocket holster, like this one here. Something that gets good coverage of the trigger guard. So don't have any worries there. It's even got a little retention clip here. So, if you want to snag it onto something. But with that being said, also, I mean, you could have it in a coat pocket, jacket pocket, inside pocket, like this, or this gun's small enough for me. I mean, it'll even just fit inside just a pants pocket, and it's just every bit as concealable that way, or inside the waistband, whatever you want. The next option for that same line of thinking is actually, I don't know if y'all can see it there, I actually have another little pocket pistol. I guess I'll just start out showing it's safe and clear. This little Bodyguard 380, and this guy's just ultra concealable. Super small. It'll fit very easily in a pocket like that. And same there, I usually have this little holster, which I usually don't have any issues with it, coming out with it. Which, if that was to happen, it gets stuck on there or something, you can just flick it off with your finger, draw it off. But like I said, I've never had any issues that way. But this gun's so small, honestly, I've had it plenty of times. I've carried it this way, just inside of a little coat pocket, which I have a lot of jackets that have this. I know a lot of people have jackets that have that feature. But it could be wherever. I've carried it inside of there, inside of a jacket pocket. It even fits really well, just in a back pocket. I've carried it that way plenty of times as well. And this thing is just so small. It probably only weighs like 10 ounces or so. So I mean, it's really not much more than just like the weight of your average cell phone anymore. But just super ultra concealable and super super comfortable. It's been probably one of my it's probably honestly one of my preferred ways to carry. But that next option would be, and I don't know if y'all can see here, and maybe showing a little bit, just to give you an idea of what I'm wearing here, would actually be from a shoulder harness or chest harness, and with this, you could have whatever you wanted. This show. But I've carried this way a couple of different times, and like I say, of course, I mean, if it's the summertime or it's warm where you live, if you don't have a jacket and it's open carry is considered okay, then that's perfectly fine. Won't even need a jacket or anything. But yeah, for the winter months, I mean, you could have this just tucked away in there, and this isn't necessarily a huge jacket or anything. And for the most part, I mean, you're never even going to know it's there. As long as you're not, maybe if you raise your arms up way high or something, maybe someone get a glimpse or something. But for the most part, I mean, no one's ever going to know. Yeah. And then moving on with that same line of thought, the next option would actually be, where I live is perfectly fine, but I know it varies where you live. But would just be carrying in an open carry holster, outside the waistband there, and just make sure that's catching on there. But this, to me, as far as open carry, this is definitely the most comfortable option. I mean, just carrying, it's got a little Phobos holster here, but definitely one of the most comfortable options for me personally. Whether it be wintertime or summertime, one of my favorite carry options for sure. Just carrying that way. But that's what I said. I mean, you've got to have a jacket big enough as far as if you want to run it concealed, and is to have a big oversized jacket, or maybe a really big shirt. This isn't a huge shirt, but it's definitely loose fitting. And with that same consideration, I mean, you're going to want some loose fitting clothing. If you are trying to conceal carry, like I said, this is definitely a bigger-ish shirt, and you're going to want darker colors, bright colors, seeing the print a little bit more. On that line. And then, of course, from that same line of thinking, the next option would be actually just carrying inside the waistband. And show we're safe. Which to me, I would say is probably the least comfortable way to carry, if I'm being honest. Probably not the most comfortable. I myself, I'm actually left-handed. Rather than that, but I draw and shoot and fire, do everything with a gun you think of with my right. So not normal for me to, be carrying here on my left side. But, with this style of holster, and it's just a little paddle style, you could have, this in any position you want. If you want to carry, from behind, from the right side, left, front, I know a lot of different guys will carry that way. And it's not uncommon, having any position, whatever works best for you. But no doubt you're going to feel that more, just carrying that throughout the day, just kind of riding along there, side of your hip. But same thing, and you don't necessarily have to have a jacket to carry that way. It just helps conceal it all the more so. If you got a big enough oversized shirt that can fit over that, you can see here, just even with this one, I'm able to, honestly, you can see that maybe it's catching, basically conceal this, even open carry. Which, with that being said, I mean, you can see I'm printing like crazy here. So, not something I would really recommend. But, yeah, I mean, you could do it. Like, where I say, where I live, it's open carry, or concealed, constitutional carry. It doesn't matter. You could walk around with a rifle on your back if you wanted to. But yeah, just going to give you all some different options there on concealed carrying, and kind of give you a couple of different ideas. And yeah, thanks for checking out the video. Y'all take it easy.